Hello everybody, my name is Vianney Salinas. This is my video podcast on my overarching theme, teacher quality and student achievement. It is important to note that for teacher quality, we will be discussing certain assessment tools that are already in place. In other words, evaluation tools for teachers. Now, let's dive a little bit more into the history of teacher evaluations itself. The first evaluation started in the 1700s, and evaluations were actually made by the clergy of the town. In the mid-1990s, a new model came about. It was called the Danielson model. The Danielson model was quickly adopted and was used from kinder to 12th grade as an evaluation tool for teachers. The Danielson model was a very specific assessment rubric, allowing teachers to really dive into teaching and have a proper evaluation tool for student achievement and teacher quality. We'll touch up a little bit more on that model later. Critics of the Danielson model came out with what is called the RAND study. The RAND study found out that teachers preferred specific feedback based on a rubric model rather than general feedback. Now, we're going to go back to our primary topic, teacher quality and student achievement. How do teacher evaluation tools help with those two things? What do students need in order to succeed in an educational environment? South Dakota State University College of Education and Human Sciences Department of Teaching, Learning, and Leadership uses the Braun-Brenner's bioecological model to help illustrate a holistic view of the whole child in the full context of their world. Basically, this can include students' personal factors, their interactions with each other and their parents, teachers, and administrators, along with larger systems. It really shows you what are the needs of the students and what they need in order to achieve in the classroom. So if we now know all of the key points and qualities in teachers that we need in order to achieve student achievement, what is the next step? What skills do teachers need to reach that level of student achievement with that knowledge? Linda Darling Hammond discusses the current research that declares that teachers' effectiveness is greatly enhanced when educators have experienced connected coursework and clinical experiences that enable them to understand the learners they will teach and their learning process, while developing skills for curriculum building, assessment, and construction of positive, equitable learning environments. It is very important that we dive into these partnerships and show educators these key points and how to use them in the classroom. We have successfully talked about how educators can develop their skills in a way that will achieve the greatest student achievement results. So now what? Let's look at how those can be applied in teacher evaluation processes. How can we be evaluated on those key points? To Tucker and Strong, they question, should student achievement be a fundamental measure of teacher effectiveness? They talk more about the inorganic representation of teacher evaluating tools such as observations. Observations alone are not the best teacher evaluation tool. Schools should not evaluate their teachers based on observations alone, but rather the growth the students make and the connections they make in their learning. We have to make sure that we are supporting our teachers in a way where their evaluation is not based on observation alone, but the holistic view of a student and their growth as learners. If we choose to evaluate educators based off of years of experience or something as simple as students' test scores at the end of the year, we are hindering them from the process of evaluating themselves and learning and growing themselves. Think about it. As educators, we are always pushing our students to strive for better things. Why shouldn't teachers be the same way? So the next question is, How could administrators and teachers strive beyond their evaluations? What can help mold better teachers? How about helping each other? Authors Lynn, Shear, Bell, and Slodum speak about collaborative inquiry. They suggest that with collaborative inquiry between educators, you can prevent professional isolation and provide a framework of thinking that can influence educators' experiences, that could involve the creation of opportunities for teachers to engage as learners, build pedagogical and disciplinary knowledge, and co-construct and enact new visions of practice in context. Collaborative inquiry could, in a sense, result in educators who are constantly learning and growing themselves. In conclusion, I believe that we need to take more steps into the Danielson domain number 4, professional responsibilities, and develop teachers to want to keep learning themselves. We can do that through having the proper evaluation tools in place that can promote such learning. Launching a new wave of teacher researchers could very well close the gap between educators who are deemed successful and those who are not, in their own respects. There is an ongoing change required in an educational setting, and it is premature on the administrator's part to assume that educators should not be involved in constant change in their own accord. We need to have the proper evaluation tools in place to promote these teacher researchers and really strive on educators that want to learn and want to keep growing themselves, just like their students.